Sitting on a bar stool, kinda short and kinda square. Through the foam in his mustache, his voice filled the air. Talking about a state of mind, son. Talking about the state of Jefferson. It's a wave on a dusty road. It's a logger's heavy load. It's a cattle on the hill. It's a range full of thrills. It's a way of life settles in your soul.
Settles in your soul. Yes, it does.
It does.
Boy, that song stopped.
It did. That's all right. It's all good.
We can fade, brother.
We are faded.
Got to get the bass man to fade that.
We are faded.
We'll fade it. Anyway, good morning, everybody. This is Jefferson State of Mind, M-I-N-E.
Yes, sir.
And you can find us on mountaintopmedia.com. You can watch us on YouTube. You can go to Jefferson State of Mind, M-I-N-E, on Facebook and find us. We are going to have a program today that's rated R. This is a no bullshit zone.
Renewal.
Yes.
Revival. Resuscitate.
It is. You know, and that's the thing. I mean, I think a lot of us are kind of tired. Are you tired of this?
Yes.
I'm just going to ask you. And we have a phone number here, too, if you want to call in. It's 530-255-8063, 530-255-8063. But I think we're all kind of tired of it.
Yeah.
You know, we're tired of all this crap. We're tired of the fact that if you even look at something called the Communist Manifesto, we have already done all 10 points in becoming a communist country.
Yep.
We're already there. So we're going to have a series of podcasts. It'll have all the folks you see on Red, White, and Blueprint. It'll have the Shasta County Citizens Press, which is Lori and Richard, Lori Bridgeford and Richard.
Citizen journalists.
Yep. Citizen journalists, and we'll be having them on. We'll be all cross-pollinating over about 4 or 5 episodes. We're also going to be doing something on the Jefferson Constitution. Mm-hmm. We completed it just about a month ago now.
Yep.
And we are going to give something out on solutions. There's a lot of people that talk about how bad things are. Let's face it, we're all screwed.
To put it mildly.
If you live in California, you're screwed.
Yeah, California.
Okay, so
California.
So the deal is that we're going to offer solutions, and we're going to start today. We're going to start right now because we're tired of this shit.
Yep.
We're tired of all these assholes that we put in office that go in saying that they are public servants, and what they are is liars, cheaters, and they are also criminals.
Yep.
We're going to prove that and talk about that. We're going to hold them responsible. Anybody want to do that out there?
That's why we're having a little old thing called a recall here in our own home county of Shasta.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Hey, there were 68 recalls in the state of California this year. 68. That's a record. And guess what? Shasta County, here up in the North State, has 3 of them.
3. You know, so how do we do this? How do we fight this? Well, first of all, we don't comply.
Yep.
Because we really got a couple of choices. One is, do we fight?
Yes.
But we're fighting against one tyranny.
Yeah.
Now, the Red, White, and Blueprint has a line of gear that is a special that they have, and I want to show this on the screen over here. It's amazing stuff. Look at that. Beautiful gear, non-shrinking.
Making a statement.
Beautiful stuff. Show the Resist Tyranny collection top right there. Turn it upside down, folks.
Yep.
And that's what we're going to do.
And that's the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be an inverted triangle because that's where the populace is. The voting public, we the citizens, are the boss of every elected official that's ever been in and or will continue to be in office.
So let's talk about that. If they take an oath to the Constitution, one of the big arguments we've had in recalling these folks in Shasta, excuse me, I have a frog. Mr. Frog, could you leave, please?
Get your water bottle.
Frog's gone. Mr. Frog. Anyway, so we have a situation here in Shasta County where the supervisors were not compliant with their oath to the Constitution. Every public servant in the state of California takes an oath to the Constitution of California and the United States. That's in Article 20 of the California Constitution. And when they take that oath, they're responsible for adhering to, upholding the Constitution of the United States, first of all, and the state of California, second of all. But the thing is that if they break their oath to the Constitution, what are the consequences? They just say, screw you.
Right.
We'll just do what we want. We had our Board of Supervisors saying it's social distance and we follow the mandates. Mandates are not laws.
Correct.
The constitutions are laws. So how do we do that? How do we hold them accountable? Well, here's how we do it. We do it with the thing, let's just call it this. And this is in its infancy, but this was something that was basically a brainchild of Mark Baird and Janet Chandler, both brilliant people. And we have this in Jefferson. It's called the Constitutional Compliant Committee. It's a fourth branch of government. What that branch of government is there for is to make sure that the people that we elect and the people that take office uphold their oath to the Constitution with consequences. I'll say that again. Uphold the oath of the Constitution with consequences. That's the whole fucking problem.
Because without consequences, how do you do a corrective action when they veer out of the margins a little bit? How do you hold them, to be compliant? They have to be compliant. I mean, every employer, whether it's a private employer or otherwise, there's always something there looming that if an employee gets out of line for whatever reason, you either start out with a discussion or you do a formal written documentation for it, whatever that is and however it plays out for your particular company, or you just fire them, depending on how egregious the violation is. So those are the kind of things that we have to look at. All the rest of us in the world have had to comply with that. And if you're self-employed, guess what? You can get fired by your customers. They do that. They say, F you, go away. They don't rehire you. They spread the word that you're not somebody to be worked with. That's no different. It's the same thing. So why are these government officials who are elected by us put into those positions and are our employees? People forget that. They are our employees. You don't go in and thank them for allowing you to say or do something. That's unacceptable behavior by you, the citizen. Although you're trying to be polite and helpful and gracious and being a good person, you want to do that, but that's not necessary. And I would dare say, don't do it, because all it does is elevate them on their platitudes and everything else that they want to do. But it makes them feel more kingly or queenly, depending on their gender. Yes, there are only two. And so they can only do what they're supposed to do in the sense of being right and compliant and following the constitutions, both constitutions that they took oaths to. And if they violate it, they have to go.
Okay, so let's talk about a real solution. First of all, when we have mandates, we will not comply.
That sounds like a pretty good mandate.
Yeah, we will not comply. That's how you fight it. You have two different ways of fighting it. You have self-help. Everybody knows what that means. I'm not going to explain it. We have self-help, or we don't comply with mandates that are illegal. We don't comply, number one. Second of all, what we do is we formulate in every county we formulate something, let's just call it this. The Citizens Board of Constitutional Compliance, the Citizens Board of County Constitutional Compliance. Let's call it that. The Citizens Board of County Constitutional Compliance.
Yeah.
And what that'll do is that is going to be something that where citizens oversee the Board of Supervisors. Now, how do we do that? Well, first of all, we do it with a thing called an ordinance. We can have an ordinance that would be passed. Now
that's legal.
It's legal. And that ordinance will make it to where the jurisdiction of the county and in the county charter, that now becomes something that becomes law in the county.
Correct.
Okay.
Because don't forget, the Board of Supervisors for every county in the state of California are the executive and legislative body. Them as a whole, as a board, are the executive and legislative body for the county. So they can create these ordinances. They can go along with these ordinances. They can sign off on them. If the citizens bring one that is going to be done and they have no way of arguing out their way out of it, because who's not going to want to comply? I mean, what board member worth their salt would not want to comply.
with an ordinance
With an ordinance
with the
that's properly
ordinance
written
that states that
Right.
they must adhere to Article 20 in the California Constitution, in which
Right.
they give an oath, they pledge
Right.
to uphold the Constitution of the United States and the state of California. So how does that all work? Well, they have to do an ordinance, and you would have to have a board of supervisor make a motion
Correct.
to say, okay, this is what we're going to do. We want to pass an ordinance. You have to have an ordinance written. Now, we have several people right now as we speak working up a legal ordinance. Now, as Wynn just said, if you bring this motion you bring this motion to the agenda of the Board of Supervisors that we're going to create a citizens committee in the county or a citizens board in the county that will make sure that the Board of Supervisors and every other elected official in the county, and remember, this is county. You can do the same thing in the city. The only
Right.
jurisdiction that this would have would be county jurisdiction. It wouldn't cover the cities in the county. They'd have to do their own.
Right.
So let's get back to this. Let's say we do this ordinance. We put this on the agenda. Now, one of the Board of Supervisors bring this up. They put it on the agenda. Now, there should be about 3 points to this thing. Okay, number one is that the ordinance would say that the public officials that are elected into office must adhere to and must follow and must stay pledged to their oath of office to the United States Constitution and the Constitution of the State of California, which is really in that order as far as the California Constitution. Mm-hmm. Number two, that they have to do this. And number two, they have to take a constitutional test. Now, this is I was thinking about this. This constitutional test would be a constitutional test on you take a test for the Constitution of the United States and you take another test for the Constitution of California, because all these guys take these pledges and not one of those sons of bitches even read it. Most people who take the pledge to the California Constitution don't read it and don't say you do because you don't.
They probably don't even know the first three words of each one of them.
Of each one of them. Okay, so you have that and you have the Constitution of the United States. So the first thing we have to do is have them take a test. Now, this test won't do anything as far as their elected position. They're not elected on the results of this test. However, what we do is we publish the results of the test.
Right.
We make it to where it is public knowledge, to where this is out to everybody. So if Joe, funny how I use his name, if Joe,
A Joe, anyway.
Joe,
Joe.
Could be this Joe. Anyway, so let's just say Joe takes a test for the Constitution of California and the Constitution of the United States, and he gets 30%, it's published. It doesn't mean he's not a supervisor anymore. It just means it gets published. Now, let's talk about what happens as far as consequences. Let's talk about what happens with this oath of office. The problem we have with most elected officials is there's no way they're ever going to have any kind of punishment for the wrongdoing. Nothing. Right. If somebody has an answer to that on how we do punish them for not keeping their oath of office, I'd sure like to hear it, because I don't know of one. They don't keep their oath of office, there's no punishment. So here's the punishment. The punishment would be if, in fact, according to this citizens committee, this citizens board, and how that's all going to look, that the elected officials in your county, through the ordinance, which is legal law, and legal law in the jurisdiction within the county, that this particular ordinance says that if they don't follow this or they're found to be in breach of their oath to the Constitution of California or the oath of office to the Constitution of the United States, then they're gone. Now, we know that when a supervisor, for example, a supervisor is either retired or dismissed or whatever the case may be, resigns, whatever the case may be, that the governor appoints. However, there's a caveat to that.
You mean when they're in the middle of a term or something like
yes,
that?
Yes, sir. When they're in the middle of a term or something. So, but the deal is that leaves four. Now, they do have the opportunity to do one of two things. They can have a special election, or they can, or the governor can appoint. They can put up people the governor can appoint. Now, in a lot of cases, you're going to have four people left. Now, we know a quorum of 5 is 3. Okay,
Right.
You have to have a majority. So you could have a 2-2 push on a 4.
Right.
So what happens is that it would have to be 3 out of 4, like they've done in Tehama County, for example. One of their supervisors is gone. They are going to have a special election. That's what they decided to do. So the thing we have to look at here is that say we get rid of one or two because of their violation of their oath. When they're gone, they're gone. They're out of public office. Now, I think it should be strong enough to say if they violated that oath in an egregious way, and we'd have to define egregious, but in an egregious way, that they should never run for office again or have the opportunity to run for office again, because we get too many of these crooks that go ahead and rerun again.
I agree. Now, going back to the appointment versus the election, it should not, in my mind, and as small as it is, we should not be foregoing or allowing any governor. It doesn't matter if you belong to the same party of the governor. Doesn't matter. They should not be allowed to appoint somebody because they are bypassing and taking away the election process from the constituents from those specific districts. So a board member is voted in by a specific district in their county, 1 through 5 in the state of California. So how do you bypass those citizens and their opportunity to elect in one of their neighbors versus having the governor who's down in Sacramento or wherever appointing somebody? That doesn't work. In my mind, that doesn't work. That's wrong. And that's why I say it should not be anything but a special election.
But that's California law. Okay,
I know. I'm just saying.
But you're right. You're right.
The citizens should say, no, absolutely not.
We don't want that. Right.
And they should put the pressure on the other
board
four.
of supervisors, right.
The other four that are there or remaining.
Yes.
Because at that point, either the fifth one or the one who's going out is either out for any number of reasons. They can't or may not be able to have a voice in it if they pass away or something like that happens. So that part should be totally removed. The balance of the board should say we're going to have a special election for this district, and those citizens get to vote on whoever they put forward and elect into that position. To me, that is the only way to do it.
Well, the mechanism's there for everything you're saying because the four that are left, the one that say resigned or whatever, the four that are left still are beholden to their oath of office and beholden to the people. Okay, so it depends on how they vote. You could have a 2-2 push and then the governor elects. See, it's sort of like a fallback position. It's like if the president and the vice president die, that the Speaker of the House becomes the president. So it's a fallback position, and so the governor has the jurisdiction to do that. But we don't. You're right, Wynn. It shouldn't get that far. The four that are remaining. I know in Red Bluff, there's one that's basically a Democrat. She seems to be the best one there because she seems to vote the right way, the way the people want to vote. The problem we have is the fact that we're looking at something to where we don't have someone to enforce something now.
Right.
Okay, well, who would enforce this particular thing? Would it be the sheriff? Could it go to criminal? Now, if it goes to criminal, it has to be the sheriff. And, in a few minutes, we're going to talk a little bit about the sheriff and what people don't know about the sheriff, and we're going to talk about the sheriff and where he falls into this.
You're talking about the position of sheriff.
Position of
not
sheriff.
Not the person.
Well, yeah, position of sheriff, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so what we're looking at here is all these people that are elected officials fall under this jurisdiction of this ordinance. So let's recap a little bit. Number one, we form a committee of citizens in the county.
Right.
The citizens have, now how that looks, we'd have to work the mechanism out, but there's people that are a lot smarter than I am that'll be working that out. So we go ahead and we have this committee, whether it's appointed, it's picked, it's elected, however it's done, but we have this board of citizens. The board of citizens goes ahead and first of all, they administer the constitutional test to the people that are in office, that have taken, the people that are elected officials.
Right.
Now, because it is an ordinance in this fashion, pretty much it would have to just affect elected officials, and I don't think we have to go down to all the way down to somebody who isn't elected. But if you're elected, then you're now beholden to this particular ordinance. Now,
right.
So we have this ordinance. They take a test. The test doesn't have anything to do on their qualifications or their position as the elected official in the office that they currently hold, but it is published.
It's another part of the vetting process.
It's actually they could have been they could win with a 20%.
Right.
But the thing is that once they do that, see they don't fall under the jurisdiction of the Citizens Committee for Constitutional Compliance until they're elected. So it has to be after they're elected. You
Okay,
can't do
gotcha.
it before.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
because it wouldn't fall under the jurisdiction of the ordinance.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. So you have that falls into place right there. So now you got these guys and gals that are elected. They take this test. Now this test is sent out to everybody. Well, you know that you might want to put that arrow in your quiver the next time they run for re-election.
Right.
Okay, number one. Number two, if they lied about taking an oath of the Constitution and reading it, what else would they lie about? Okay, number three, once that happens and that is published, then that becomes, again, public record for everybody to look at. And I know that some particular counties, our county, Shasta County, tried to charge people for getting any kind of public record information. Well, they can't do that because we're protected under the California Constitution.
You mean the departments are charging for
Yes,
public information?
they want to charge for public information so much a sheet.
Interesting.
Yeah. So,
Well, how does
and they say they can do it. Well, they can do it, except that the Constitution of California would trump that because they have to give it to you. So you could walk in and say, "Well, I don't want to pay it because I haven't got any money."
And that's different than a license or
Oh yeah, yeah.
totally different
It's
animal.
public record.
Public record information.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
California Public Records Act is where you find that.
Okay.
Okay, so what we have here is we now have a situation. These guys are elected. They're in office. Now they're under the scrutiny of the people where they should be. Now they violate their oath of office. So let's say they violate your right of free speech. Let's say they violate your right to petition. There can be a million things they violate. I mean, it was unbelievable what the Shasta Board of Supervisors did to a point. And let's say they do something like they commit misfeasance. Let's say they go behind a line and they use their power as an elected official to go behind the line, sort of like the car fire line, sort of like Leonard Modi, what he did, when he went behind the car fire lines with the sheriff's department's escort, going in there, checking on the generator, having them check on his generator.
On his private property.
On his private property for his own private gain, his own private use, which ended up being a misfeasance, not a malfeasance. Should be a malfeasance in a lot of people's opinions.
So it was changed to that, or
It was changed to that.
it was never a malfeasance, or it was.
It might have been. It might have been. They, that's the thing. We will find out, folks. We will find out. I guarantee you that. Here's the deal. Deal is that, okay, he's found guilty of that. Now, that means he broke his oath of office.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now since he's broke his oath of office and he has done that, well, now he's beholden to the citizens and he needs to be gone. So we get rid of him. Then the next step is, do we have an election or does the governor appoint? Well, that's going to be up to the four remaining.
Right.
But they just saw you get rid of one. Maybe they'll think twice. Now, here's the other thing, too. A lot of people are saying, the Board of Supervisors will never pass that. Two things. One is the Board of Supervisors, if this is brought to them, who in their right mind and how much fun could we all have with this if they said, well, we're not going to put anything forward that makes us have to uphold our oath of office. We're not going to have anything forward that is going to show a consequence for our future supervisors who come in that have to keep their oath of office. I mean, what kind of bullshit is that?
Right.
Okay, and that's one of look. See,
Well, not
don't
the one.
comply.
Yeah.
Because we don't have any more choices, folks. We have got only self-help. And these particular tools right now, that's all we've got. We don't comply, and we create a county committee of constitutional correspondence of the citizens. That's what we do. And we create ordinances in every county. And that's what we do. And we have them beholden to it. And we have teeth in the law to where they are gone. If it's a crime and found to be a crime, even if it's a misdemeanor, they're gone.
Yeah.
They're gone. And that's the thing. And many, many people have got to be tired of this. We have insane things going on. Insane things. I mean, in New York, for example, there's 5,000 medical workers that are not going to take the jab. And so now they're going to have to find 5,000 workers to come in there. Well, they're going to use the National Guard.
Interesting.
I mean, it's crazy. All this stuff that's going on, it's like, even this morning locally. And the reason I go off into this subject is because this is all under the jurisdiction of the Board of Supervisors who hires the people who work in your health department.
Yeah.
They hire the lead dog or doggette in the health department. Now, for example, today, okay, there was a program on the radio, and a gal came in from the health department in Shasta County and said, well, 90% of all the people that have COVID now, even though our spike is going down, 90% of them all haven't had a shot. So my question is, and I did call in and ask a question, number one, where do the boosters stop? We're hearing now that you might have a booster every 6 months, number one. Number two, when you have professional football teams, professional baseball teams, where these people are completely jabbed to death. Mm-hmm. They've had boosters, they've had inoculations, they've had all this stuff, supposedly everything. These are fit people, and the Giants couldn't even field a pitching staff. Okay, and in the New Orleans Saints, half their coaching staff got COVID. Well, how can you get COVID if you've already been? Well, you can get it again. Okay, but how is it that so nobody ever dies from the jab? Oh, wait a minute.
Wrong.
And Lori Bridgeford and Richard Gallardo have been great on that. So is John Knight. And again, we're going to be bringing in a lot of people. You need to be watching the Red, White, and Blueprint. You need to be watching all the different programs, Sovereign Minds, all the different programs on Mountaintop Media. We are one when it comes to restoring our rights, restoring our liberty, restoring our Constitution, restoring our country. And that's each effing county at a time. And that's what we have to do. We have to understand it's got to be county level. We shall not comply. We won't comply. We won't do it. And that's where you have to go, because we have run out of peaceful methods, frankly. I think this ordinance idea could be something that really could work.
And it's lawful.
Yes, it's lawful.
It's lawful. And the citizens bringing it forward is lawful.
Yes.
Because, again, we are the employers to these employees who are elected into every elected position in the county.
And let's talk about breaking your oath of office. Let's talk about the sheriff.
Okay.
Now, I realize a lot of sheriffs are ignorant to the fact of what the Constitution of California says and the Constitution of the United States. They're just ignorant of it. I'll just say it. Because, frankly, I'm at the point where most people are. We really just don't give a shit. Mm-hmm. We want our country back. We want our kids to be free. We want to make sure that they have the liberty growing up, and our grandkids have the liberty growing up that we enjoyed when we were younger. We want to restore the Constitution. So let's go to the sheriff, okay? Second Amendment. Sheriff goes to the Second Amendment. You have to get a permit. You know all the stuff, folks. The CCW, all the other bullshit you got to go through. So everybody understands that.
So it clearly says in the Second Amendment that we need to get a permit.
Oh, yes. Doesn't it? Doesn't it?
We need to get permission
for
to
a
carry.
right.
So we have to get permission for the Second Amendment that the founders deemed really necessary for us to have. So now we have to get permission.
Yeah, how crazy is that?
I call BS on that one.
It is BS. Okay, so let's say we get a new sheriff. First of all, there's a couple of different things a sheriff can do. We don't have open carry in California. We did up to about 2012.
It doesn't say we need to have concealed carry.
Well, the thing is that open carry is the only protected right, according to the opinion of the Supreme Court.
Yeah, Texas has got it right. I just spent
they
2
got it
weeks
right.
down there. And
you strap it on, baby.
They're all over the place down there. Yep.
That's right. So, to my point, the thing is that the sheriff in a county of under 200,000 people can issue what is called a 26150B2. That is an open carry permit where you can walk around in your county, all through your county.
Say that number again,
26150B2.
B2, okay.
And you can walk around open carried in your county. Now, there's two problems with that. Number one, there's no form that can be gotten from the Attorney General.
No piece of paper to fill out?
There's no piece of paper to fill out because there is no form. But a sheriff can create the form because the law is there. So the sheriff could create that form and give you a permit.
Again, you're asking for a permission.
But here's my point. The point is that they won't even do that. The point is that because they won't do that, okay, does that become, let's go back and go back to the ordinance, is that breaking their constitutional oath? Aha. Because remember, the only protected right, according to the Supreme Court's opinion, is open carry. So
there you go.
If they equivocate that with the Second Amendment of the United States, and we all know in Article 3, Section 1 of the California Constitution that the United States Constitution is recognized as the supreme law of the land.
How wonderful would it be to have a board of supervisors from any given county to say we are going to comply with the federal Constitution in every way, shape, or form? And if California is violating that Constitution, then we will not comply, i.e., open carry.
Well, they should do it.
They should do it.
They should do
just
it.
How wonderful would that be?
But they should do it. But see, that's the thing. Again, we will not, we shall not comply. We can't
Right.
comply. Or we have to have ordinances, or we have self-help. I don't know what the other answer is. Anybody else got another answer for that?
Open carry, it creates a friendly state. Creates a friendly state because the violators or the would-be violators of you, me, your mom, your daughter, whoever, will not violate them when they assume that everybody's carrying a gun or if they can actually see the gun on the hip.
And here's the thing, my good friend. You're so right about that. That's great. You're so right about that because here's the deal. The deal is what your sheriff's going to tell you is, if we have a bunch of guys and gals walking around with open carry, we're not going to know the good guys from the bad guys, number one. Number two, we're going to get all these phone calls, and people are going to be calling our office, and our officers are going to be running everywhere. They'll be all over the frickin' county.
Kind of funny because like I said earlier, I spent 2 weeks in Texas. Actually met a sheriff's deputy down there. He was eating at the same cafe as us. So I took the liberty to walk over. Yes, liberty, freedom to walk over and have a chat with a gentleman and ask him how he felt about open carry in the great state of Texas. He said, "There's no other way to live." Those are his words.
Absolutely.
There's no other way to live. And I said, "Thanks." He said, "Where are you from?" And I said, "Where do you think?" He said, "You're from California, aren't you?" I said, "Yes." He said, "You guys need to get your shit together."
Yeah. And
Those
he's
were
right.
his words. And
he's
you know
right.
what? He's absolutely right. No other way to live, and we need to get our shit together.
So don't give me this bullshit that you're a constitutional sheriff when you don't follow the Constitution. I don't want to hear the bullshit. I mean, don't be a liar because you're a liar if that's what you're saying. If you don't follow even that, and even okay, throw you a bone, how about a 26150B2? I asked for that. I asked Tom Basenko when he was sheriff.
That was 2 sheriffs ago, right?
3 sheriffs ago.
So that was last year.
Yeah. That's a whole other subject.
In our great county. Oh my
we go
gosh.
down a lot of trails here. And you get back to this again. I asked him, I said, hey, let me ask you this. Okay, why wouldn't you issue me an open carry permit? He says, because I don't issue it to anybody. I go, why? He goes, they make my officers nervous. No shit. They make my officers nervous. I said, well, isn't that a training issue? And he says, I just won't do it. I said, and then he said, besides, I think that concealed carry is tactically superior. And I said, well, then why don't you have your deputies conceal carry? And he said, because it's a deterrent. I said, so let me get this straight. Okay, so let me get this straight. Okay, so I'm going to take my grandkids on a walk in the park. And there's people out there. I'm sorry. There's people out there, meth heads, all kinds of criminals. Okay, but I'm going to take them for a walk, and I'm open carrying, and that, as you say, would be a deterrent. So what you're telling me is that really and truly, as our employees, as peace officers, or our employees as citizens, that they have rights we don't. Is that what you're telling me? And I said, besides that, I said, if you have a situation where somebody conceals carries or open carries, isn't it the discernment of when they use the weapon? Wouldn't it be when do you use the weapon?
Yeah.
I mean, who cares where you carry it? It's when you use it. It's the discernment of that and the training for that. And I'm not even saying you really should have to go through training, but that's up to folks. They should learn how to use a fire. Absolutely.
Right.
But the point is that you get this bullshit about, constitutional sheriff. There's no such thing as a constitutional sheriff. Every sheriff should be constitutional. Every sheriff should follow the Constitution.
Yeah.
Every one of them. It's kind of like there's a new thing now. Let's have a constitutional county. What the hell is that?
Right.
A constitutional county, you should be constitutional anyway. They take an oath.
They take an oath.
In California, they take an oath to the state constitution, United States Constitution, and in Article 3, Section 1, it specifically states that the United States recognizes the state of California recognizes the United States Constitution as the supreme law of the land, and California is an inseparable part of that, which means that the United States Constitution trumps
all of it.
all of it. It trumps it. So how can you have all these illegal laws and all these illegal things happening to where the United States Constitution is virtually the Constitution that these sons of bitches should be following. And I am done. And I know I'm not the only one. I'm done. And I don't care if I sound radical. I really don't give a shit. Because I am tired of having my rights taken from me every day. You should be too. You should be tired of having your kids masked. You should be tired of people trying to force a vaccine down your throat. You should be absolutely livid in that the 10 rules for communism are already in play in the state of California and in the United States. And we have a president of this country that just left $88 billion, $88 billion in weapons with our enemy, and you in California have to go file an effing report, and you have to go through a background check to buy a box of 22s. And if you're shooting with your buddy and you give him some 22s to shoot with, guess what? You're a felon. That's bullshit.
That's right.
Where do we stop here, folks? When do you start standing? And I mean really standing. We need to stand. And I know a lot of this I'm preaching to the choir. I get it. I get it. But if you haven't had enough, what's going to be enough?
Yeah, where's your line in the sand?
Yeah.
Where's your line? Is it already been violated?
And we don't have constitutional rights. We have God-given rights.
God-given rights.
The Constitution's the line in the sand that binds the government.
Not the people.
Binds the government.
It binds the government. It tells the government it cannot do certain things, or only allows the government to do certain things. And that is done by we the people. And it doesn't matter when the Constitution was actually, when it was actually written, it still complies. It still applies to what we're going through right now. And we have to be on top of it. And do you know what? We have to be vigilant. We have to be vigilant. No more sitting home, drinking a beer, doing what you're doing, or whatever, going out, being busy, doing, whatever it is you do, whatever your choice of hobbies or whatever. This is something that's critical to the livelihood of our nation. It's actually starting in our county, our state, and our nation.
Yes, sir. And it's got to start in the county.
And if we don't get our act together, we're going to lose all three.
We're already losing it.
We're going to lose them.
Have we lost it?
We haven't lost them.
Well,
we're at that point. We're at the fighting point where we're right at the cliff.
Yeah.
We can pull it back. It's just going to take all of us to get our act together and do it. And if you don't know something, ask. If you're afraid to do something, find somebody else that's willing to work with you. There are many people out there that are afraid, but if they all came together, they wouldn't be afraid. And stop being afraid. Stop being afraid, because how afraid are you going to be when they come for you? They come knock on your door, they chase you down, they find you out and about, and then all of a sudden you're going to be doing whatever it is whoever they are, mandate that you do. Guess what? We're done. Those days are over with. We need to move on.
So, ask yourself this question. We are divided now as a nation because our president is getting impatient with the American people not getting jabbed. Now, think about this. The pharmaceutical companies are not responsible. They are not accountable. They cannot be sued. They cannot be held accountable for this vaccination that you get that could be harmful to you, that could kill you, that could do a lot of things to you. And they don't have any accountability. Would you buy brakes from somebody and drive your car with your kids or grandkids in it, and they sold you a bad set of brakes, and they're not accountable for it? Well, that's the luck of the draw.
Yeah.
How dumb are we? And I know that, and folks, I don't want you to, I apologize if this sounds like I'm yelling at you guys, because I'm not trying to do that. I don't think any of us are like that. I'm just as frustrated as everybody who understands liberty.
Well, it's the passion. It's the passion that comes through because of frustration.
But my point is that it's the people out there that are they're afraid, that are on the fence. It's those people out there that we need to reach, not people out there that are ready to rock and roll.
I find it kind of ironic, too. You find these big old strapping men that are scared, but then you have these little petite ladies who are the bulldogs. What the hell has happened to our society? Our men are weak. They're being weak. Why? That's unacceptable. Did they get the trophies in playing any sport? Participation trophy? Participation ribbons? When these women are out there kicking butt, getting things done. And I support these women, man. I'm with them. I'm side by side with them. And we've got, in our particular county, we have some seriously strong women. And I don't mean physically strong, I mean emotionally, mentally, and just, they're strong. And they want to get this done. They're fighting for their babies. They're fighting for their grandbabies. They're fighting for their everybody. They're fighting for themselves. They're fighting for their parents. They're fighting for their spouses. What is wrong with these men? Where are the men? It's all left up to women to be doing this? Are you kidding me? Oh, I've got to work. Tough. You're not going to have any job, or you're not going to have any clients at some point.
Yeah, what if your boss wants you to get the jab? Are you going to take the jab or not?
Right.
We know that the medical workers in New York, 5,000 of them won't. We know a lot of medical workers here. And our board of supervisors, what a bunch of cowards. There's not even a meeting. I mean, they won't even meet. They're afraid to meet with the medical people. Because
the medical people know what they're talking about. The board of supervisors does not. And they're relying on their health officer for the county to give them information, which has been platitudes and BS this entire time.
Totally. And lies. So we need to make sure that, when you have these people that are on the front lines actually treating patients, dealing with patients that are willing to come in and want to tell the board what's going on, but then the board fails to have a meeting or won't let them come in. That's what's happening here in our county. And they can only do that for so long, like last week. So starting, tomorrow? Is there another open board meeting? I don't know. Are they going to cancel it at the last minute? Has it been canceled? I don't know. So those are the kind of things that need to happen. I mean, our board just canceled all of September.
Yeah. It's amazing.
It is amazing.
How they do that, because by law they are mandated constitutionally to have their board meetings. It's the work of the people. It's the work of the people that they have to comply with, and they're failing to show up. Guess what? To me, if I fail to show up for an entire month of work, would I have a job? Would you have a job? Would any of us have a job if we failed to show up for our entire month? Even though they meet only once a week, that's their month. It is their work week. It is their work month. If they fail to show up, they need to be terminated. Absolutely be terminated. And then elected in by people of their districts to fill those vacancies.
We don't even have it once a week anymore.
Right.
We only have like 27 meetings a year.
Out of 52.
Yes. So, and so in recapping, these are some solutions on what we need to do. And this will get culminated and formulated over about the next 3 weeks, would be my guess. Number one, we do not comply with mandates. Don't comply with mandates. Do not comply.
Don't do it.
Because we're talking about peaceful here at this point.
Yeah.
Number two, we need to put forth a motion through a supervisor that we create the County Citizens Constitutional Compliance Committee. Number three, we need to make sure that when we do create that committee, we do a constitutional test. First point of lying. Did you read the Constitution? Oh, yeah. And then they take a test and they get 20%. Mm-hmm. Okay. So then we take those particular findings and we publish them. The third thing is that we have teeth. We have teeth, not a resolution, but teeth to say, okay, since you broke your oath to the Constitution with the citizens as oversight, engaging that. Since you broke that, you are now gone. And if there's criminal situations, the sheriff needs to be called upon.
To arrest. Yes.
And then they go to court. They get their day in court. That's what we've got to do. No more of this suing crap.
Suing, all it does is put off the inevitable, and then they get let go, and we're using our tax dollars to fight them, and then we have to come up with the money to fight it.
That's right.
So we're being double taxed on that.
Every time.
We're paying twice as the citizens. Don't do it.
Every time.
Don't do it. Just arrest them.
Yep. And we do have people working on that ordinance right now. Bassman, are we able to go another 5 minutes? We able to go another 5 minutes? Yes.
Okay.
So, those are the things we need to recap on. Those are the things we need to work on. The ordinance is being worked on as we speak. We have somebody who's brilliant, Janet Chandler, who's working on that. And we'll get Mark Baird, who's also brilliant, working on that. We'll get some other people. I'll talk to Richard Gallardo. We can get a lot of people that are engaged with this. We will be having future podcasts that will be inclusive of the people that you see on the Red, White, and Blueprint, that you see on Patriot State of Mind, us from Jefferson State of Mind, people from Sovereign Minds, and of course our
Shasta County citizen journalists.
Yeah, Shasta County citizen journalists. And so we're going to, and any other shows we have on here. I know that John Knight is going to be on the next show here on Sovereign Minds, and we need to start understanding that we have to fight this thing.
Absolutely.
It's sort of like, when do we fight? We fight now. We don't wait, we fight now. There is no more waiting. There's no more waiting. The 10 points in communism are already done. They've infiltrated our schools. They've infiltrated our government. They've infiltrated our economy. They've infiltrated our medical field. They've infiltrated everything. There isn't one thing right now that the United States government or the state that you live in doesn't control in your life. Not one damn thing. And, I know for me, a lot of times, and I can only speak because of me, a lot of times, I can get angry about something, but I have no one else to blame but myself. I was asleep for far too long. But now we have to wake up. If your neighbor doesn't wake up, dust your sandals off and go to the next town, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're not gonna convince somebody who doesn't understand or doesn't want to understand. And I know I've said it before, but it's plain old farm talk. Pigs don't know, pigs stink.
That's right.
Pigs don't know, pigs stink. And that's the deal. You're not going to convince them. Well, we need to reach out. Reach out to who?
Yeah.
Reach out to who? Okay, how do you reach out to people who aren't going to listen? And how do you reach out to people who haven't seen this in common sense anyway? Maybe they're quiet about it or docile about it, or the point you made, my friend, is that they're afraid. Being afraid is the worst thing that you can do.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you can get guilted up real good. I know for me, there's plenty of things in my life I regret.
If you go from the fear factor and go into the motivation factor of just curiosity, finding out what's really going on, and hearing from the people that know what's going on and that are actually actively doing something,
right,
you'll see what's going on there. You have to be in their presence to do that. And when you do that, then all of a sudden things inside of you start churning a little bit, and then you get angry because all the emotions come into play. They all do. They have to for you to get motivated. Well, guess what? Once you start getting angry, then it's like, okay, I need to do something now. Now you just went from fear to being active in a very short period of time. And it doesn't take very long to do that. It can take one meeting with a group of people, just having open dialogue about things, because everything that you want to talk about, you can hear them talk about, you can ask questions, and you get answers. And the more this happens, the more engagement you have. Guess what? You just went from being fearful to being productive and getting something done. And that's what needs to happen. Don't be these fearful men sitting on the sidelines, waiting for somebody else to do it for you. Are you kidding me? You're going to wait for your beautiful wife to go take care of it for you?
That's a great point.
Or your beautiful sister or your beautiful mom?
Great point.
Are you really going to do that? Not on my watch.
Yep.
We don't treat girls that way.
Yes, you're absolutely
right.
right.
We do not treat girls that way.
Right. And, there's things that I think every man regrets in their life that they've done, or you could take something back you would, something you said, something you did, whatever the case may be. But you can't be thinking about that. You got to be thinking about moving forward. You got to be thinking about moving forward. We have to get this thing done. We just can't comply anymore.
And we're going to make mistakes as we proceed, because that's how you learn. Because we've all made mistakes by things we've said and done. Guess what? Who cares? Move on. Just keep moving on. You chalk it up as experience. Put that in your quiver. Don't do that again, and then keep moving forward. Or if you make a great mistake that turns out to be something fantastic later, guess what? Pull it out of your quiver when you need it.
Now, next week, we'll be having some things we'll be showing you. We also will be doing a 3-part series on the Constitution of Jefferson. And we'll be talking about the situation that we have now with representation that's appalling. You guys have heard it 100 times. Point being, we need to make sure that we have a government that's going to work. We can start that with the counties. We have to make the counties accountable. We have to make the elected officials accountable. And, that's not by asking them if they want to have a constitutional county. They should have a constitutional county. Well, we got about 30 seconds here, my good friend. Any last thoughts?
No, I think we pretty well covered it. And just give the phone number again for people to call in for the next episode.
Oh, yeah. For the next episode and the next show, it's area code 530-255-8063, 530-255-8063.
And we welcome questions because we like to hear what people are thinking, and we want to understand where you're coming from, and if there's something that we can learn from you, and if we can share information that we've learned, and we can share it with you as well. The only way we're going to be able to do that is if you give us a call.
And time has come.
For 51.
Let's get it done.
Amen.
I hope that gave some information on exactly what we want to do with the ordinance.
Hey, CJ, come out and play. Have you
Good.
seen the bill?
Great questions,
All
too.
have to pay. It's not our bill. We had no say. You don't serve us, you serve LA. The time has come for 51 in a Jefferson state of mind. You don't know us, you have no clue, and still you're telling us what to do. We don't know you or what you face. It's time to start a brand new state. The time has come for 51 in a Jefferson state of mind. Jefferson state of mind, carved from lessons we all learned through time. And to my new state, I will always be true. She's gonna shine in the red, white, and blue. It's really better off this way. The welfare you won't have to pay. You keep your royal pedigree. All we're asking is set us free. The time has come for 51 in a Jefferson state of mind. And in the end, it's very clear, anything that we hold dear will never see the light of day. With California run this way, the time has come for 51. The time has come for 51. The time has come for 51 in a Jefferson state of mind. In a Jefferson state of mind. I'm in my Jefferson